Okay, so we're gonna deploy a database called TimescaleDB. It is responsible for storing a time series data. And for that, I'll just go to my server. And this is the Docker Compose for TimescaleDB. Let me just copy this and go to my other server. City apps. Create a folder and create a file for Docker Compose. .yaml. Save this. Uh, Exit, and let me just rename this folder. And execute. Let me execute this command. This will be Docker Compose -f timescaledb dot compose, and this will be up. It will fail initially because of the creation of the folder structure, but let's see. And meanwhile this gets downloaded, I okay, so if I go to my project, and one thing I need to do is this, I need to add a database connection. So this would be 5432, the port number, and I would also add a database to this. That would be Postgres. Now, TimescaleDB does not have the concept of database as far as I tried. It has a Postgres database, and the username would be okay. So for this information, we'll just go to our compose file. As you can see in here, we have specified the password as the password, and the user is Postgres. So and the port is 5432. It's the same thing we gonna specify in our event consumer class, and the username would be Postgres. Password would be password. This is okay, and yeah, so let me go to this. Okay, let's see if we are able to connect to this database. Terminating. Okay, so probably it might have init process ready for a startup, listening on port zeros. Okay, 5432, and let me go and try to connect to it. Okay, we go to our database, and I won't be using this one. I'll be using my old server. And if I do docker ps, I have probably already running somewhere. Okay, this one. And I'll be connecting to this database. Before that, we need to create the table. Now, creating a table in TimescaleDB is a bit different. So let me just pull up my existing queries. Okay. And oh, so this would be similar. The table would be similar to the class that we had created for the events. That would be the post event info class. And as far as the Hibernate information is concerned, we will add annotations accordingly to this. And if I go to my take a look at the existing Hibernate, I'll just do identity. Wait, before that, I would execute. So I have ID, event, message, error, and time, right? So in the same way, I'll be creating the table for this. So this would be ID. And time is required in this database for it to partition the whole. Sorry, time is required in this table to partition this table across multiple instances within the cluster. So hence, the hyper table is sort of like a virtual table that will partition the table across the cluster. And so the table name would be post event info, and this is ID, timestamp, and event, message, and created at. I don't think so this is required created at, because we already have time. Yeah, you got event, message, error, and time, so we don't need update created at. Just put default now to this. Oh. And we need error. Let me try to create this. Okay. This will. We need to create a hyper table. Timescale requires hyper table to be created for partitioning the table across the cluster. So you got this, and that time refers to the column for it to partition the data. And if not exists, then it will chunk the time, chunk the database on the time, and this would be 1 day. So if the data that is coming in is based on the seconds, the data will be partitioned. So whatever the data is, let's say there are 1,000 rows, they will be partitioned based on the time column, and the division of the data would be done based on days. So 1 day, for example, if the data is of 1,000 rows and there are 10 days, so the the division would be across, 100 rows. So that is done, and we'll run this. Okay. And create a index. Oh, we need this copy. Okay, since there is no data, it won't display, but at least the table exists. And what we need to do here is go to our post event consumer, and we need to, oh wait, go to our post API, and we need to specify this as an entity, and table would be post event info. This is what we have to specify in here, and this event, that will be events and message and error. And for time, we need to specify it similar as the created time, created at. So this would be like this. Okay, so this is done. So let me build this. Okay, we go to our post event class, this one, and we need to create a repository in here. And the repository would be containing post event info repository. It would be an interface, and we go this. This will extend the JPA repository of type, the it'll be a UUI, sorry, it'll be a post event info, and the unique ID is the UUID. Okay, now if I go to my post consumer, this will auto wire the repository, public, sorry, private at auto wired, private post event info repository, and this will be post event info repository dot save post event info. This should save it, save in the database, and let's see. We start the event consumer in a debug mode, and let me check this. We don't need this. It should be. Let me check what all other options are there, because it is creating a tables we don't need. So hibernate ddl auto property. Let's put this as none, and I'll see if there's any table that are being created because of running the application. Anyways, that doesn't work. So this is good to go. Let me start the posts application. So the way this will work is I will call the API to get all the posts that will generate an event that will be pushed into Kafka. So the post service acts as a publisher. From Kafka, it will be pulled by the post event consumer, and once it pulls, it'll store it into the time scale database. So you got the post service as a publisher, Kafka as a message queue. Post event consumer would be your consumer, and TimescaleDB is your database to store the event information. So if I go to this post event service post sent, okay, so we are into post event consumer. Do continue. 9. Okay, so what is the error that it's trying to give? Row was updated or deleted a transaction. Probably. Oh, I know. The reason is because we are providing a ID to it. So let me change the code of this. Go to application post service, and we don't want to provide an ID to this. So this is the error that you can get when you specify that the ID has to be created by Hibernate, but you are also manually creating the ID for the object. So if I take a look at the error, it says that row was updated or deleted by another transaction, or unsaved value mapping was incorrect. Okay, and let me stop this, debug this again. Okay, so I got continue. I hope this was done. Let me check the database. So we have an entry for the event. And yeah, so let me do one more entry into this, like 3-4 entries, and we can make sure that this is working. And on this, let me skip this so that it does not stop at the breakpoint. And let me go to the database. So we see that the posts are being created. Also, one more thing I need to do is, if I go to post API, add some string to this, add toString would do. Okay, let me build this, and let me build this. Go to, and if I go to my post event consumer and reload this, it should have a toString function. So this would be toString. You don't need toString in this case. Save, and also will post saved. Okay, this will have an ID as well as timestamp, and I don't think so there's a timestamp that I've provided in the post service. Okay, so let me rerun the consumer. And okay, so let me run this post service event consumer. Saved, consumed, saved. So we are getting logs for this as well. It got consumed, and then it got saved. It got consumed, and it got saved. And I probably might disable this, or I just have to go to the YAML and show format, show SQL as false. And this would be as false. Let me try to run it again. So you can see here there is like consumed and saved. So it is getting an ID as well as a timestamp. And if we check our database, it would have the information as here as well. So yeah, this works. That's it for this video. Thanks.